I'm Dave Mercer.
And I'm Matt Pangrac.
Once a week, we get together and debate hot topics in the sport fishing world. This is maybe the world's first sport fishing debate talk show. Panger, what's our topic this week?
There should be no fish care penalty for a dead bass.
I don't know what the debate is. I mean, the fish is the most important thing. How can you, I mean, yes, there should.
Fish is the most important thing?
Yeah.
So you want to devalue the fish then by making it less valuable by having a 4-ounce penalty for the fish?
That's not devaluing the fish. That is putting a priority on the fish. You better take care of your fish. You better do everything you can to make sure the fish go back in the water better than they came out of the water. I mean, if every single rule in all tournament, I mean, mostly Bass's rule book, and it feeds out from there, let's be honest. But all of those rules happen for a reason. I mean, I've seen tournaments in the past where anglers have intentionally deep hooked fish because a fish care penalty wasn't a problem. That wasn't something they were concerned with. You know, they don't have a camera. They don't play by the same rules. And I think you have to understand that these guys that are competing on the top level everywhere, they love fish. They care fish, but they also love winning. And there is 0.1% of them that will do everything they can to win. And you have to value fish. And I don't think a 4-ounce penalty is too strong for a dead fish.
I would like you to ask Dalton Bobo about that. In the 1996 Classic, lost to Dion Hibden by a single ounce, Dave. Remember that? 4-ounce fish care penalty, middle of the summer. Had everything that he did, had one fish that expired. The year before, 2-ounce penalty. He would have won by an ounce the year before. They just arbitrarily decided at best that it went from 2 to 4 ounces, lost the Classic by an ounce. Hasn't ever been in that position since then. He did not do anything wrong then. Listen, all these anglers, from the time race got started, BASS, and went to the release, the live release of bass. You know, it started with, 15, 20 fish on stringers, and then 8, and then 6, and now we're down with 5
them up
there.
On a paddle.
And now look at what we've got. Gene Gilliland and Bass Conservation, with Chris Horton, all these guys, and a big group of people that are seeing the importance, shining a light on the conservation aspect of bass fishing. Along those lines, every lake also has 5 fish that you can keep, or 6 fish or 4 fish, whatever that legal limit is. You can come back with 5 3-pounders and fillet them. Now, that would kind of hurt my heart when you ever see that happen, but legally, that is what that fishery is designed for. You're able to do that. You're looking at a well over 97, 98% release rate over the course of the Elite Series tournaments. I think, here's what I think it should be, Dave. I think it should be you are not able to cull that fish once it is deceased. That fish is going to lose weight after it is deceased, and now you are not able to cull that fish, which is a penalty.
But that's not a rule. That's not a rule. That's a law.
That is a law.
State law.
It is,
states.
but I think that state law is a penalty enough for you. I think it devalues the fish when you catch a fish that, whether it got hooked in the tongue or something happened, you're trying to keep it alive. I think it devalues the fish to say, you fish, you gave up your life for this tournament. Now, I know a lot of those fish are often filleted and given to the less fortunate to, feed them afterwards, so it's not going to waste. But I think that fish is then devalued because, you're worth 4 ounces less now that you're deceased. An angler's done nothing wrong. He's competed his entire week to do this, and this arbitrary where they said it was worth 4 ounces now determines, in Dalton Bobo's case, his future. I mean, you can go back to tournaments that were won by an ounce or lost by an ounce over a fish that the guy had oxygen. He put all the right minerals in. He had the ice. He kept everything fine, and a fish just went belly up. I don't think that should determine tournaments and futures and careers.
That's like saying a guy went to start his boat and he couldn't get it started for some reason, and he was delayed by a minute and he got a late penalty. It's not really his fault.
That's a controllable variable.
It's competition. Well, this is a controlled variant too. I mean, I get it. There is luck in the sport of fishing. There's good luck. There's bad luck. But you need to make every effort. And I would go back in history to say that you're right. At one point, it was 2 ounces. But they made it 4 ounces for a reason. And I don't know exactly what that reason is because I'm not good enough to do research for this show. But if I did, I'm sure the reason is that they wanted to decrease the number of dead fish penalties that they were getting at the time by raising it to 4 ounces. It did that. The other thing you got to keep in mind, Panger, is it's not just us watching. We have got ourselves into a world where everybody that loves fishing is constantly arguing about the fish's health. Trust me, everybody at every organization does everything they can at the top level to make sure the fish survives. But you also have to look at the public outlook. If all of a sudden Bass said, hey, there is no dead fish penalty, what does that look to the anti-groups? What does that look like? It looks like you're not even trying. I get it that it hurts. I mean, Gerald Swindle would have won. He would have beat Dean Rojas at Toledo Bend on Dean Rojas's final Elite Series victory. And he didn't, because Gerald Swindle had a dead fish. And as much as that hurts Gerald Swindle and many of the Gerald Swindle fans, the rules are the rules. I mean, Dalton Bobo is not the only one affected by it, but the most important thing that we have to look out for and take care of is the fish, because believe it or not, you and me are not the weapon. People listening to this are not the weapon. The weapon against our sport is antes, and we need to do everything we can for them to understand that we're doing everything we can to make sure fishing is as good as it possibly can be. I mean, be honest, without fish, there is no conservation. I mean, anglers are the original conservationists, not people in canoes. I mean, there's a lot of people, but nobody takes care of the outdoors better than outdoors people, whether it be fishing or hunting. And if you don't believe that, go look at countries that don't have a big hunting and fishing culture. They have less outdoor resources. We are in abundance of it in North America, and that's because we have lots of anglers and lots of hunters taking care of it and doing everything they can to make sure it's good. So I am all in with keeping the penalty the way it is. I don't think it should be changed. I say keep.
Those are all good points, Dave. You make valuable points. I guess my issue is more with how do you determine that it's a 4-ounce penalty, that it's a 2-ounce penalty? Remember, for a while, it was a graduating system. Let's say you had a bad day, something happened in your live well and the fish deceased. The first one was 4, then 8, then 12, then 16, and you could lose pounds and pounds and pounds of your fish. It's been all over the board. A 4-ounce penalty is a lot more in Pittsburgh on the Allegheny River with a 12-inch smallmouth than it is on a Falcon with a 10-pound largemouth. So it just seems like it comes into play when all these guys are trying to keep their fish alive. I'm looking at it from an angler's perspective, having only weighed in, I think, 2 deceased fish, that I did absolutely everything I could that cost me points. And then I could have culled that fish. So now I'm getting hit doubly. And one of them was a 12-inch spotted bass where it was like 4 ounces was 30 spots, whereas 4 ounces was 1 spot in another tournament. From an angler's perspective, I want that fish care penalty to go away. But I do understand your part. I'm in the middle of this, but as an angler, I want to cull the fish care penalty.
I mean, I've already given my opinion, but one last point. When you look at it in the long list of penalties that you can get competing on an Elite Series event, if you're 1 minute late, it's a pound. It's a pound per minute. Then when you're 15 minutes late, your weight is gone for the day, no matter what you have. So when you look at 4 ounces for a dead fish, I don't think it's too strong a penalty at all. But it doesn't matter what me and Panger think. It's up to you guys. Let us know in the comments. Keep or cull the fish care penalty.